a little bit about Your Future is Now. Why this webinar series? Well, because actually I believe that we need, as I've already said, we need a new kind of, we need new entrepreneurs, we need new leaders. And I want to get rid of some old-fashioned leadership and entrepreneurship ideas. Why is that? Because I feel that the way we have been working, the way we have been doing business, the way we have been leading our people is not really the way we will go forward. That's a strong belief. Now, who am I? I'm Greet Bunnens, and a lot of people know me. I'm a founder of a couple of companies, HR Vibe, You Brand Builder, and the co-founder of Business Boost Event. And it's always been my mission to help people grow as a person and with their business and build their personal brand. And I loved every minute of it. I see that there is a lot of clients of mine here, and I loved every minute of it. What I saw is that, or what I felt is a year or two ago, that the things that I was saying, that there was something not right, that something was off. And I started to ask a lot of questions and to ask the typical question, is that so? Is that so? Because I felt that what we were saying was not future-proof, really, was not always... I can't say it otherwise. There was something off with that. So I started looking at things, at what we were saying. I was starting, and I felt that we needed a change. And fast forward today, 2020. Well, there has been a big change, of course. The Corona happening is one of these big changes. And I think for a lot of people, the Corona happening will also have a major impact on how you approach life, how you approach business, how you approach everything, really. And again, that's why we need new leaders and new entrepreneurs. And I'm not the only one to think that, and I do not have all the answers either. So, okay, we need new leaders and new entrepreneurs, but what does that mean? What kind of leaders and entrepreneurs? I've got some ideas, but I've decided to organize this webinar series because I know a lot of people who have other views, or maybe the same views or more interesting views than I do. So that's why I have decided to invite guests. And that brings me to my dear friend, Mieke. Ta-da, there she is. So Mieke, she was she's the first one that I asked, and it was even before I got the idea of organizing these webinars. I just said, she's a person who's living the life that a lot of people want to live but are afraid to live or think that it's not possible. And that is one of the reasons why I asked her to be on this webinar series. Another reason, of course, is because she has a lot of interesting things to say. She's a very interesting lady, and her life has been interesting up to now. But yeah, I was really happy when she said yes to my invitation, because I really wanted her and her views on entrepreneurship, on life, and on the future. Because if there is one person who can have an interesting opinion, then it's her. So thank you, Mieke, for being here.
Thank you for asking me. It's a big step out of my comfort zone, as you know, because it's my first webinar. So I'm a little bit nervous, and my laptop is not really helping. He's in a bad shape lately. So maybe because I pulled some water over it a while ago. But yeah, so if the sound is not very well, it's my laptop. I'm very sorry. But yeah, I'll try to give my views and my vision on life and entrepreneurship the best way I can.
Yeah, great. So Mieke, it's her first webinar. She's a little bit nervous, but so am I, because it's always, will everything turn out right? Is the sound right? Will the Wi-Fi connection be right, etc.? So we're both a bit nervous, so be nice to us. And Anne Snoes is in the house. So Anne, you are also the winner of our online training, because you were the 50th person to register to this webinar. So great to have you here. All right, Mieke, how has the Corona happening been treating you?
Yeah, it's been a strange time, I think, for everybody. And on a personal level, it has been very good for me because I moved to the coast, which is yeah, very nice. But on a business level, or like as an entrepreneur, yeah, I cannot do my job anymore because I work in groups and I work yeah, in water. I give like aquatic body treatments. So you're forced to stop, and when you're forced to stop, it's like my burnout a few years ago. You're forced to think and reflect, like, where am I? Where do I want to go? Am I still living in alignment with who I am and with who I want to be? So I think it has been a good time for me to reflect and to feel like what's still working for me and what's not working anymore. And then yeah, I'm making some different choices for the future.
All right, so that's interesting. So you're making different choices for the future. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I guess it's related to what you just said. Like sometimes things seem to be working, but they don't feel right. And then you have to tune into yourself, like, okay, something is out of alignment, and what is it, and how can I align it again with yeah, what I really want and who I really am, with my personal energy. And I think for me, this Corona was because normally I was working, like doing one workshop after the other, and then you don't have, like, I make a lot of time for personal development, but still your focus is on always going to the next thing. And I was like, okay, what still works for me and what doesn't? And of course, yeah, the future is a bit insecure also with yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with Corona in the next few months or years. Yeah, so it's a good opportunity to reconnect with yourself again.
All right, and when you say, okay, things will change or have changed, or I'm gonna change certain things, are there specific things that you've decided, okay, not anymore, or let's do this differently, or whatever?
Yeah, I felt like, because for me, I like to be a part of the process of people. And like, I have been giving a lot of workshops, but only seeing people once. And then after that, I'm like, how are they doing? Are they like applying those things? Are they, you know, and now I'm decided, like, I'm going to only work with a group for like a long time. And then I'm going to start working individually with people.
Okay, well, that's a great idea. And I've already subscribed to your group program, so I'm really excited. Maybe that's something that you can talk about, because I was really thrilled. It's a group program that's oriented towards entrepreneurs, but it's not the typical marketing entrepreneurship stuff, is it?
No, not at all, actually. Because for me, like, my real business is my life, you know. And for me, entrepreneurship is just a vehicle to make my life meaningful, to live in accordance with my own values, with my own truths, to make the best use of my talents, my energy, my time, because I like to work based on inspiration, and it goes with ebb and flow. So if I have a life that's true to myself, my business is going to flow better, because I believe, like, your vibe attracts your tribe, and you can only have the right vibe if you're really living in accordance with your own truth and your own values. So the program is about alignment, like how can you align your life with who you truly are? Because I believe if it's flowing in your life, if it's flowing on the inside, it will affect your business. Because yeah, it's a mirror for me. If it's not working on the outside, or it doesn't feel right, I'm not going to focus on my marketing or focus on my sales. I'm going to focus in myself, like, okay, what's out of alignment inside myself that's causing this blockage or this stagnation inside my business. So it's really not about business, but it's also about using your business as a mirror, as a vehicle to create yeah, a life in accordance with who you truly are.
Yeah, and And I love it so much, and I think that is also has been the reason why I was so triggered by you and your program and everything that you were saying on Facebook, for instance. And that's why I also wanted you in our webinar series, because lately I've seen how that works. So what you were saying is, okay, if something is blocking you, or if something is not right in your business, then it doesn't have to mean that your marketing is not right, or that you're not working on your time management, or that something is wrong with your sales texts or sales, whatever. Focus on yourself, and are you okay? So that's what you are saying, aren't you?
Yeah. And you can check in with yourself in many ways. For example, I always check in which personal season I'm living, because we're also part of nature, you know. So just like nature, we have this autumn and spring and summer inside ourselves. So when I came back from living in Spain and I was back in Belgium, I was really going through a personal winter. A lot of things in my life and in my business were I had to let go to make place for new things to come in spring. But then you have to trust the not knowing, and let yourself be able to clear space for something new, and don't hold on to something just because it's working or just because it's what you know, but make brave choices in alignment with what you feel, with your own personal season, and also with your own personal energy.
Yeah, and that's so great about you and your program, because I am more like, okay, let's do it, let's try it, and we'll see, we'll figure how it works out. But you've got your own ideas, you've got your own system, you've got your own model that you created, the RIA-model, etc. So I like it. I like that very much, because I've gone through a change. I mean, I've been the co-founder of Business Boost event. It's been a great 3.5 years. We've done great things, and then suddenly it ends, and then I had to let go. And that's what you're saying. I had to let go, but I'm so grateful for that, because then finally I could be myself and do business the way I really wanted to do it, and the results are there. I mean, I just launched 2 weeks ago, really just I improvised. I said, well, let's launch this simple program and we'll see what happens. I let go, I detached from the outcome, I just did it, and it was a huge success. And I'm convinced that the reason is because, and that's what you are always saying, is because I finally am doing business in a truthful way, in an authentic way. Isn't that it? Couldn't that be the case? And that's what you are saying, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you act upon what you feel, on what you feel inspired to do, it always works. And also, if you would have launched it from your feeling and you were feeling great, and even if you didn't have clients, you still would feel good because you felt inspired and you felt like, oh, I want to share this. And then, it's always the right thing to do, to follow your feeling, follow your inspiration, act upon your inspiration. And then sometimes it gets so effortlessly and so easy that you think, oh, wow, this is also possible. You know, I don't believe in forcing and striving and struggling and pulling and pushing. That's not the way I want to do business, and that's not the way it works for me.
Yeah, well, and that's really it, actually. And that's what I said also. So I just launched it. It was a difficult day with some with a little bit of conflict. And I went for a walk with my dogs and my husband for 2.5 hours. And I came back and I said, whoa, let's do this Facebook Live. I've got the feeling that I've got to launch this program. Boom. And if nobody's interested, then that's fine too. I mean, I detach from the outcome. So if they don't like it, I'll try something else. And so there was not that feeling that I had to have all these clients and it had to work and I had to pull and try to push them and try to convince them. No, they came and they said, yeah, I want to sign. So it's really great. And I'm really happy that I was able to do that. And it's also thanks to you, because you inspired me in a way with your RIA-model also.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So there are some myths you wanted to talk about also, because you've already mentioned a couple of them with regards to entrepreneurship. Tell me, what are the typical myths that you say, oh God, we really should do it differently?
Actually, I try to focus not too much on what everybody else is doing, because for me, I get a little bit confused and it gives me chaos. And but for example, when I started, I didn't have a business plan. I had an idea about what to do the next few months, and I said, okay, let's go for it and we'll see. And I also didn't have a lot of money saved, so I just kind of, I really took like a leap. So I think that's our two important myths already. Like, you don't need a lot of money to start up, and you don't need a business plan. Just act upon your inspiration.
Okay, and another thing that you were saying then is, okay, you don't have to copy other people. You don't even have to watch them. You can do something completely different, and just, if it feels right, just go for it. Don't copy the others.
Yeah, it's not so much about copying, but I think most people become an entrepreneur because you want to create your own life, you want to be more free, and then you come into this world of entrepreneurship, and everybody's telling you, you should do this, you should do that, and don't do that because you will not have success, and you get confused, and then you forget to listen to your own wisdom and to your own knowledge, and I think your best guide is always inside. And of course, like I say, entrepreneurship is for me a vehicle. And if you have a car, you need to learn how to drive it before it can take you somewhere. So you need to learn how to become an entrepreneur. It's not something that came natural for me. I had to learn how to write newsletters and how to put a blog post in my website and to do marketing and sales. But don't focus on that. That's not it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is how you feel, what you're here to do for, like, put your mission inside the world and experiment and play along the way, and don't forget to enjoy the road. I think that's for me, that's I see so many people struggling with like the details, more or less, like with the vehicle, and not with like where it's taking you. You can learn so many things about yourself. You have the chance to clarify your message and to see it more in a playful way. And I miss that sometimes. It's also serious and marketing, and you have to do this and this, and just play and see how it goes for you, how it works for you.
I love that, because I like to play and I like to laugh, and lots of people who are here know that I have my abundance humor, whether you like it or not. But that playful attitude is so important. When we decided to stop the Business Boost event, and I was thinking, okay, what's next for me? I took the time, and one of the things that I decided was enjoy life. I mean, indeed, if you are working, and everything is that must, we have to, and if you take a time off, then you're not doing well, or that's a bad idea, or you feel guilty, or whatever. Is there any fun in entrepreneurship if you continue doing it like that? I mean, if there's no time for yourself, for your family, for your friends, or whatever, if there's no fun in life. And that's what I also see with lots of entrepreneurs. They work really hard and they forget to enjoy themselves. So again, there's a little bit of letting go. Now, you were saying we have to listen to ourselves, but in a world where there's so much going on and there's so much noise, and everybody wants your attention, and they want to sell you something, or they want to marry you or whatever. So there's a lot of noise, and they need your attention. How do you listen to yourself? Do you have any great tips and tricks on that? It might sound like a silly question, but I know that there's lots of people who don't know how to do that.
Yeah, of course, being in nature, being outside. For me, being in the ocean or in the sea now to go surfing, it's a good way for me. The ocean I always say it's my best business teacher or my best business coach, because it always shows me what I need to see about myself. But also, like the last few weeks, I felt a little bit restless, a little bit chaotic, and then I know, like, okay, it's time to put my own values into place again, because I don't have a business plan, but I have a values plan, and I always try to create my life in accordance with my values. So you can download it on my website if you want to check, and it's a good way to check in with yourself, like what's really important for me, or because we can lose ourselves so much in the buzz that we forget what it's all about, you know. Take the time to check in with yourself, and for some people it's writing, for some it's meditating, for some it's going outside, for going for a run or a drive. Like, learn to get to know yourself, like what works for you, because we can say, like, I also want to say what I'm sharing here, it's not the truth, you know. It's like it's how it works for me, and if it resonates with you, fine, but it doesn't have to. So learn to get to know yourself, learn to get to know what's true for you, what works for you, what's in alignment with your own energy, with your own truth. I think that's very important. And also what you're saying, like a lot of people, they're always chasing after the next goal, you know. Then they reach their income goal and they want to have more money, or they have this email list and they want to have more, and they're never satisfied. So I really like the word enoughness. And if you make your values the most important thing, then you will feel very this enoughness that you will feel during, like, day by day, and then you don't have to chase the next thing, because you will enjoy the now much more. I always tell my parents, and they have to laugh a lot, like, I live a semi-retired lifestyle because I really don't want to sacrifice the present for the future, what a lot of people are doing. They always living in the future, and they forget to enjoy the now. But I think what Corona also shows us, like, every day it can change. Every day it can be your last day. So it would be, what do you, if you have like millions on the bank where you're not enjoying your life, it's not very useful, not very meaningful. So
that's so true, because indeed I see a lot of people, they're chasing one goal after another, like you're saying, and it's never enough. I like the term enoughness. Het is genoeg in het Frans, but it's such a pity that and I think it's some of the myths also. They always, a lot of people say, okay, you have to grow, your business has to grow, and grow, that means, okay, we have to earn more and more and more money. And as you were saying, there have to be more and more people on your email list and more followers on your social media account, etc. But if you live like that, it's never enough, and there's always scarcity in life. And if you have that feeling of scarcity, you can't be happy. You can't be happy. You will never be satisfied, and you will always be chasing something else. And as you were saying, then, okay, we're fine. We've reached that goal, and then it's not enough. Let's go for the other goal, etc., etc. And that is also a big change that I've seen now in my new business. I don't want to earn these millions. Yeah, well, if I earn millions and millions, nice, but not if I have to work day in, day out, if I don't see my family anymore, etc. I'm not interested in that anymore. And I see that with my new program. It's a simple program. It's sold out, so I'm not selling it here today. But it's a simple program, and it's maybe not the most business-like program because I can't scale. It's an individual program, but I like it because I can be really, I can really make a difference in people's lives because I'm going to work one-on-one with people. And that is so much more important for me than having all those millions in the bank.
Yeah, I think for me, I want to grow as a person, and in doing that, my business automatically changes and grows with me. But a very important question that I asked myself in the beginning was like, what does success mean for me? And then, is it because a lot of people focus on money, on a lot of clients, but for me, success is like living in accordance with my true values, with my truth. And I think if you make your own decision or definition about what success means to you, it's never about the money. It's never about the mailing list. It's never about having so many followers. It's always something deeper. And it's important to look what's your core longings, what's your core desire, what you're really after in life. And it's never about the material things or money. Of course, money is important. We need money in this society, but it's not the end goal. You know, you need money because you want to be able to live in a way. Yeah, you can make the best use of your own talents, your own energy. You can do the things you like, because if you're happy, if you're a good version of yourself, it's like a ripple effect. You know, the happier you allow yourself to be, or let's not say happy, but you're satisfied with your life, like you're grateful for the way you live. A grateful person is doing so much more for society than someone who's always like chasing the next thing and who's always stressed, you know, because you have this energy you're radiating as well. Like if you're happy and you feel happy in your life and you're grateful and you feel like, okay, this is who I am and this is my life and I'm really happy with this. You do so much more for the bigger picture than for being always stressed and always chasing for the next big thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm wondering. You were saying, okay, what's the definition of success? And I'm going to ask that question for you guys in the chat. Please give your definition of success. I'm really curious to hear that. In the meanwhile, there's Crystal who asked a question. Yeah, Greet, you're talking about selling your program and that it's already sold out or something. But that's because you already know a lot of people. You already worked on that know, like, trust, and that's true. But that's been my life's work also. I've always been extremely interested in other people, what they are interested in, what they are doing, what are their values, and what is their mission, etc. And that's why I always liked to connect with people. For me, networking, they always say networking, whether it's online or in live, is networking. For me, it's never been working because I've been lucky or whatever to really enjoy meeting new people and to connect with new people. And I think that was my lucky charm or whatever, because I liked it that much. Whenever I started a new company, I immediately had my first clients because I worked on my network, and that's maybe another topic than the discussion I have here with Mieke. But having a good community of people who trust you, who like you, who know you, is very important. And I am convinced that my latest success has been thanks to all those people who have been supporting me through my difficult times, through my sad times, through my angry times. They were there, they were cheering, they were applauding, they were there to hug me virtually, because in the Corona period that wasn't possible. And I will keep them in my heart forever. But it's also something that is very important. And Mieke and I want to have your view on what's your view on this community, because you have built a great community, but sometimes it feels a little bit strange, that community, or what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, when you were saying what you were saying, I was thinking, yeah, the first thing I organized, it was a week about burnout in Portugal in 2016. I had one participant. Now, most people would cancel it because financially it was definitely not interesting, the opposite. But I learned so much from that week. You know, like you have to give yourself time to grow as well. And I see a lot of people when they're starting as an entrepreneur, they have only 3 or 4 people that come to their workshop and they cancel it because they think it's not enough. But it's such, you have to start where you start, you know, and by these 3, 4 people maybe that come to your first workshop, you build a relationship, you get to know each other, you learn so much about yourself. So don't focus on this same thing, like enjoy where you are and start with the first step, and that first step will lead you to the next one and the next one. So give yourself time to grow. Because I created a big network, but actually it was never my intention. It started with this first person, and stay connected to each other, and then you share things on Facebook. You say, hey, shall we go for a coffee, or shall we go? And then I organized the first picnic, and it glowed slowly, but without a plan, just naturally. Like, be really interested in other people, be really interested in connecting on who they are, and don't think about, will they be my customers? Because that's, yeah, people feel it when you need something from them, and they will be like, no, I'm gonna have time to go for a coffee with you. But if you're really interested in getting to know them, just for the human relationship, it will be so differently than when you see them as your possibly the one who's going to pay your bill. You know, it's a very different thing.
That's so true, because when I was, I used to work in human resources, for people who do not know that. So I did not have any commercial role. I was not a salesperson or whatever. I was just an HR manager. And but I still, and as of the beginning of my professional career, I liked networking, but it never had any sales intention, or I was never there for, okay, I have to speak to these 5 people, and I have to connect, and with these 5 people, I will put them on my list, and then I will feed them some stuff so that they will like me, and then I sell them some stuff, or even worse, I want to sell something at that networking event. That was never the case, luckily, but that also, the result of that was that people saw that I was genuinely interested in them as a person. That's just what you are saying, and not like, okay, I wanna sell you something. Come here.
Yeah.
So, but you're happy with your with your community, but your idea is there. Okay, just connect with people, not with any strange intentions. Pure intentions is actually what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I love that. In the meanwhile, I see that lots of people have great definitions of success. I have a question from Ingrid. Any tips about starting as a rather introvert entrepreneur? Mieke, do you have an idea on that?
Actually, I wrote a blog about it last year, because I'm introvert myself, which I didn't know for a long time. And for me, it's very important to have enough time to connect with yourself, because, for example, if we're speaking about networking, I think why I started to create my own network moments, which I call just connection moments, is because I don't like the big events. It drains my energy. So I had to figure out a way that I enjoyed to go to get to know other people. So I created my own meetings, because I don't go to the big meetings, because as an introvert, as you know, it's very draining to have so much I would say prickles. I don't know how to say in English, around you. So yeah, that's find I think also, like, make kind of a plan for your business, which is in accordance with what you need, with what you need to flourish. You know, we're like in nature as well. Like, you need to know what you need to be in the best shape yourself. For me, for example, I need 9 hours of sleep, so I need to have a way of doing my business and running my life that I can have those hours of sleep because I need it. So as an introvert, it's like, look what you need and then see how you can build your business around it. And it will always be the best because then you can give the best of yourself as well.
Yeah, actually, I think because I'm an introvert too, people laugh at that because they don't believe me often, but it's the truth. But I think there is also a kind of a misunderstanding that extroverted people, that it's easier or whatever for extroverted people. Okay, maybe at a networking event, extroverted people will find it easier, but I think that a lot of people here in the room who are extroverted still find it a little bit scary to go to a networking event where they don't know anybody. And what I always said to introverted people is, you don't have to talk to everybody. Luckily, just have one great conversation. And that's what introverted people, especially the empathetic introverted people, are so good at having one great conversation with one great person. And that's enough. Then that's good enough. I mean, you don't have to walk the room. In English, they say walk the room. That's not necessary. Your networking event can be a big success if you have met one person and had a thorough conversation, a good connection. And that's so much more important than talking with 20 people saying, hi, how are you? What's your pitch? Oh, not interesting. Okay, the next one and the next one and the next one. Then I prefer being an introverted. I've learned how to be extroverted, and so lots of people think now that I'm an extroverted person, but that's not the case. And hey to the introverted people. All right. Okay. So indeed, there's a lot of people who are talking about these introverted, extroverted issues and about networking. Is there another question that somebody had in the room? You can ask your questions, of course. If you have questions for me or for Mieke, of course, please do so. Okay, Geraldine says that she also needs lots of hours to sleep. Well, same here. And Mick says, okay, we are networking via the chat. That's also a very good thing. And I love LinkedIn for that because okay, there was indeed another question from Jenny. She said, what if others call you a workaholic, but in the meanwhile, for me, working is playing and enjoying what I'm doing. That can give some frustrations. I bet that is the case. Mieke, do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, you're asking this question, so apparently it triggers you, what other people are saying about you. And when it triggers you, it's always a good opportunity to go to check inside yourself. What is triggering me? Is there a kind of truth in what they're saying, or is this, what are they? Because often your environment is kind of a mirror, and they reflect on what you believe inside yourself. So maybe it's what you believe about yourself that you have to work hard and but yeah, just check in with yourself and see why this is triggering you, that they're calling you that, because if you would not believe it, or it would not bother you so much. So yeah, I keep playing if it feels right, but don't forget to rest. Actually, I like a kind of a life motto for me is rest until you feel like playing, and play until you feel like resting, instead of work hard, play harder.
That's a nice one. That's a nice one. And I like the fact that you are saying, okay, when it triggers you, because indeed, if you, Jenny, if you are happy with what you're doing and people are saying, okay, you are a workaholic, well, let them. I've been called different names. You don't want to know. The last one I heard was that I'm a narcissist. I know that I'm not a narcissist, so let them. They don't know me, and they're probably in a bad place. So I have a lot of empathy and love. I send them lots of love and empathy because they're in a bad place, I believe, because otherwise they wouldn't take the time to just call me a narcissist and then put lousy things on my email. But I know that I'm not a narcissist, so it doesn't bother me. And that is also something that is important for all you guys. If you have a voice, if you have something to say, please say it. Stay true to yourself and don't let anybody take away your power or your voice. If you have something to say, please do, in a polite way, of course, but please do. If that is your truth, let nobody take away that voice of yours. And that is also so important for the future. And that's why I want new kind of entrepreneurs who are willing to share their voice, their opinions in a polite way, of course, and are not scared of all the people who will not like them or send hate mails or send hate posts to you. It's not important. Be who you are, say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. It's one of my favorite quotes of Dr. Seuss. Is that something that you've encountered, people who are being negative towards you or something, Mieke?
I think luckily not so much, but I think the more you put yourself out there, the more you have the chance that someone will not like you. And I have this natural pleasing inside me. So in the beginning, I was like, the moment I started to realize like I was getting more followers, and I was like, I started to be aware of what I was sharing, because not everybody agrees. But then I worked a lot about my unconscious beliefs, because I felt the fear to be visible, and I had like, okay, what is this fear trying to tell me? And then I really worked on all these like limited beliefs I held inside, because a lot of women, especially when you're working in the spiritual or conscious world, they feel this fear of being visible with your own truth, because society and spirituality, there's still like a big taboo on it. But we carry inside us a lot of stored beliefs we're still holding from past generations, because we probably everybody had like a grandmother. She was burned like as a witch when she was sharing her own truth or living so close to nature and with her herbs. And so we still hold this fear inside us, especially as women, to share our own truth, to stand for ourselves, because also with the influence of religion, and as a woman you were just like do your thing in the house and stay little, stay small, and now to have our own business, we need to get ourselves out there to share our message, and it can feel very terrifying to do that. So it's a good opportunity to look inside yourself and discover what your beliefs are, and try to find a way to transform them into your true, who you truly are.
Oh, I just love this. Indeed, I mean, personal branding, that's my cup of tea. That's what I'm working on. I was the introverted, small, scared, invisible little girl. And I've changed all that. And if I'm able to do that, everybody can do that. And it's not because you don't know how to do that. How can you become more visible, etc.? It's often because we are so scared. And as you are saying, especially women and girls in the house, but also the guys in the house, please, we need more purposeful entrepreneurs, leaders who want to share their voice, and please be visible, please be heard. It's so important. We need new people who are more purposeful, who are altruistic, and please don't let anybody take away that voice. It's so important. Now, I've got another question here from Sandrine, and she asked, how do you overcome the energy and impact of the people in your environment who do not believe in you or what you are doing, and they bring doubt and anxiety, etc., etc.? Do you have any advice or tips on that?
Yeah. I always try to see if, for example, someone close to me, someone who matters to me, says, when I was starting my own business, someone close to me said, like, I don't believe this is going to work for you. This is not going to be. And I was like, I was very hurt, like, why is she saying that? You should care about me. You should believe in me. And then I started to reflect, and I realized she was just mirroring me, my own beliefs. I was having doubts inside myself as well. And she was just showing my doubt. She used, I believe life works from inside out. So what people are saying to you and it triggers you, or you're like, oh, sometimes it gives you the best opportunity to learn, to discover, do I believe what she's saying, or what is she coming to teach me that I can transform inside myself? Because it's always the only way is the way in to change things. So use it as an opportunity, like see those people as your teachers, like what is triggering you, why, and what can you transform inside yourself because of what they're triggering inside you.
It's always a mirror, isn't it? But I've got a small story about that. I've got a friend of mine that I've known her forever. Anyway, a couple of years ago, I've told it on the Business Boost events, but a couple of years ago, she decided to become an entrepreneur, and she has all the skills and the power and everything that you want as an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur. She's got it. She's the it girl. And then suddenly she called me and she said, I don't think I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I have my doubts and I'm not going to do it. And I said, what? And she said, yeah, well, you have to know, my mom, she says, you don't have it in you to be an entrepreneur. And I said, what? I mean, honestly, she's the one. And I said to her, imagine that your mom says to you, Sandra, you are an elephant. What would you say about that? And then she says, what are you talking about? I'm not an elephant. Why would she say that? I said, yeah, but how would you react? But that's not true. I'm not an elephant. So I say, so if your mom would say you're an elephant, you're not going to believe her. But if she says you don't have it in you to become an entrepreneur, you're going to believe her. And then she says, okay, I got it. So, and I invented the hashtag, I'm not an elephant. So sometimes you see my post with, I'm not an elephant. For all those people who have a mom or a sister or a dad or a partner who do not believe in them, you know now what to say. I'm not an elephant. So, all right. I think that unless you want to add something to that.
Yeah. I was thinking two things. Like first, when you start to walk your first steps on the path of entrepreneurship, surround yourself with the people who know what it's like. Like, don't ask your parents or your friends who are still working for like a safe. Don't ask them for advice. Ask the people who've been on that road. And also, when I changed my life around after my burnout, like a lot of people just want you to keep doing what you've always done because it's safe for them. That's the way they know you. That's the way they're living their life as well. Like most people live the life the way society is telling us to live it, and being and becoming an entrepreneur is not part of it, especially if you're like doing it all by yourself. Like, so people want you to, the story about the crab bucket from what's her name? Elizabeth Gilbert is a very good story about that. Like, people want you to stay in their zone because that's safe and that's how they know you. And if you change, they're forced to reflect on maybe they have to change too. And if everything stays the same, they don't have to ask themselves questions. But once you do it, and once they see you do it, and you give them an example, like it's possible to do it in another way. And then, yeah, by changing yourself, you encourage people to follow their own path as well. So, and that's I think that's very meaningful. So do it for yourself, but also to inspire others with your fact that it's possible to do it in another way.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that a lot of people who say, no, that you shouldn't be doing that, etc., that's because they're scared. I mean, they mean well. Most of the people mean well. They just are scared. Oh my God, I don't want her to fail, or I don't want her to lose money or whatever. And that's why they say it, because they're scared. But they mean well. Most of the people mean well. All right, that brings me to the end of our conversation. I've got one question left, but first, where can we find you online? We've got all the details. That's a question that some people were asking. So Angelique is gonna put everything in the chat box. And one last question before I give some other details about the next webinar. what's the number one thing? So we are talking about entrepreneurship and the new way of doing business, etc. Is there something, is there one thing that the people here in the room can do today or tomorrow, as of tomorrow, that will make themselves future-proof? Is there one major tip or thing that they can do?
Yeah, live in the now. Enjoy life now. And I want to have give one more example. The first year when I was an entrepreneur, I was had a lot of worries about money because I didn't know where it was going to come from in the next month. And I worried and I worried, and I had this contraction, you know. And then I started to ask myself the question, okay, what is money about for me? What does being rich or having living a rich life mean to me? And then the same thing, I was like, okay, it's living in accordance to my own values, feeling free, feeling grateful. And then I started to feel already those feelings. I was like, okay, I'm already living my life that way. So I activated this feeling inside me, this feeling of gratitude, this feeling of, yeah, being happy with where you are now. I think that's the most important thing, because when you're in a good place with yourself now, you're always going to feel what's your next step. So enjoy the now, I would say.
That's indeed Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. But it's true. I mean, it's now. Now there's always now, and that's the one that we can live. We can't live the tomorrow because the tomorrow has to come. So let's live the now and enjoy the now. And when you're angry, just look at yourself and say, "Oh my God, why is she angry?" Let's enjoy life and now. Okay. Well, I think that is about the end of our interview. Mieke, you did well. How did it feel?
Yeah, still a little bit uncomfortable because it's not what I know. But yeah, thank you for the opportunity to.
She did well, didn't she? Please say yes in the chat room, because Mieke did great for her first webinar. I'm so happy to have had you here. Enjoy life, and please share your message, share your truth. Don't let anybody take away your power. Bye, guys.
Bye.